I've spent a fair amount of time criticizing religious people who have jumped on board the transhumanist movement and the futurist movement, primarily because I don't think religion adds anything to the conversation. But there's one exception, and that is Frank J. Tipler's idea of the omega point. Frank J. Tipler is a Christian, and he's also a physicist, and apparently he's a pretty decent physicist, pretty smart guy. He also has the look of a sci-fi author, so that maybe helps him in this realm. So the omega point. It's not exactly a religious idea. I don't think that this is a concept that's being taught in Sunday school anywhere at the moment. But at least according to Tipler, it completely squares with his view of the Christian worldview. So here's Tipler describing what the omega point is.
You can go further. You can give an upper bound to the complexity of the universe in the present state. It's a double exponential, 10 raised to the 10 to the 123rd power bytes of memory as all that is needed to code all possible visible universes in the computers of the far future. Huge number, tiny, tiny in comparison to infinity. This means life in the far future could code a perfect simulation, a perfect emulation, we say, of the entire universe in the computers of the far future, using only an insignificant fraction of the total computer memory in the far future. If they did, we actually would be resurrected, brought back into existence. That's what I'm saying. This event of the Earth's destruction 5 billion years in the future is important to each and every one of us because we will be there, brought back into existence in the computer in far future, trillions of years after that event. Furthermore, after the resurrection, we could actually have an infinite number of new experiences as computer emulations, and remember all of them. Eternal life for one and all. And it is likely, in fact, that far future life will indeed resurrect us, never to die again, because what are we doing right now? We are trying to resurrect, to bring back into existence that our own ultimate ancestor, that single living cell from which the entire biosphere, including ourselves, are descended. We are the ultimate ancestor of that far future life, so they would be as interested in resurrecting us as we are in resurrecting our own ultimate ancestor. Note that the omega point is a state outside of the universe of infinite power and knowledge. As Walter told you, the omega point, which is I've borrowed for a technical reason, actually is the term for God used by the French theologian Teilhard de Chardin. Famous German theologian Wolfhard Pannenberg has actually written that if you go through in detail all the properties which the omega point actually has, according to my calculations, the omega point would indeed be Judeo-Christian God.
So a couple of thoughts. First of all, sounds cool. I'm into it. I mean, if this is what is going to lead to my future resurrection, why not? However, I have a couple of critiques. The main critique here is the obvious one, which is that most mainstream physicists seem to think that Tipler is nuts. Sean Carroll, for example, has called Tipler crackpot, specifically because of these ideas that he's developed. Also, Michael Shermer and Lawrence Krauss have both very strongly critiqued Frank J. Tipler for his ideas, and these people I would be more inclined to take seriously than Tipler, especially since we are basically in the realm of science fiction here, and that just seems kind of obvious. Also, I do have to wonder what this actually adds, given that the singularity is already part of the conversation. The singularity is sort of the ultimate sci-fi scenario where robots become smarter than humans, and their intelligence continues to increase exponentially. I mean, how much crazier do you have to get than that? That is like the extreme situation that could destroy humanity. It could, who knows? Does Frank Tipler know? Does Jesus know? I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that if you open your nearest religious text, you're not gonna find the omega point in there. You might find some concept of the afterlife. Maybe you'll find some concept of heaven, poorly spelled out, but you won't find the omega point. This is all in Frank J. Tipler's imagination. I appreciate it. I think it's cool. and fun, but it's just like it's trying to give Christianity too much credit. So you have Christianity, and for example, and Christians are right now trying to shove Christianity into futurism, transhumanism. Then you have Frank J. Tipler with his omega point, and he's trying to shove the omega point into Christianity so that he can more easily shove Christianity into the futurist, transhumanist world. This just seems kind of nuts. I mean, can't we just drop the religious nonsense and just, live in the secular world for a minute? Those are my thoughts on the mega point. If you're a physicist, a mathematician, apparently Frank J. Tipler has actually written, mathematical proofs that go along with his ideas. So feel free to check those out. I haven't done that, so maybe I don't know what I'm missing. But that's the mega point. And all you sci-fi authors out there, maybe that'll bring you some inspiration. And good luck with that.